Partner at Appleton Luff, Mr. V. Lakshmi Kumaran, Managing Partner at Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan Attorneys, Ms. Anuradha R.V., Partner at Claris Law Associates, and Dr. James Nedumpura, Professor and Head.
I'm sorry to say that the connection is coming and going.
Placement law. And
Very much so.
I think it would help if I switched off my video. We're also pleased to have with us today Professor Dr. S. Shantakumar, Director of Gujarat National Law University. Conducting the moot this year would have been impossible without the support from our university administration. To be
No, it's distinguished judges of the final rounds of this moot court competition, a very prestigious moot court competition being organized by the Gujarat National Law University. We have with us Professor Dr. Peter L.H. Van den Bosch, Director of Studies, World Trade Institute, University of Bern. We have with us today Sri Lakshmi Kumaran, founder of Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan. We have with us Dr. Arthur Appleton, Partner, Appleton Love, Ms. Anuradha, Partner, Claris Law Associates, and our good friend, Professor Dr. James Nedumpara, Professor at Center for Trade and Investment Law at the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. On behalf of the Gujarat National Law University and on behalf of the faculty convener, Dr. Girish, and Ms. Harsha, Mr. Soham, and all the members of the organizing committee of this moot court competition, I extend a very hearty welcome to each one of you to this valedictory session, the much awaited session after so many days of hard work. And I know teams are keenly waiting to listen to each one of you to get a very valuable feedback from each one, as well as to know the results of this tiring moot and a very difficult moot to win. So with these few words, I once again take this opportunity to extend a very hearty welcome to each one of you. And thank you so much for sharing your valuable time, your experience and knowledge with our students and faculty at the Gujarat National Law University. It will be an honor to host all of you at our campus sometime. Eagerly looking forward for the day that we will be able to receive all of you on our campus and host you.
We thank you, sir, for extending your help throughout the conduction of this event. I now request Dr. Peter Van den Bosch to share his experience of judging the final rounds.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you for your kind words. I would, first of all, like to congratulate the organizers. Organizing a moot like this is it's not easy. And you've been organizing it very successfully for many years in a row now. Congratulations. Secondly, I would like to congratulate the authors of the problem. It was a very, very interesting problem that you made the students to look at. And also that is difficult. It's difficult to write a problem that is balanced, yeah, that is not immediately going for the complainant or the respondent. And this was, in that respect and in other respects, a very good problem. It is expected for me eventually to declare the result. And as many of you have been waiting for a long time in this session, you will have experienced that it was not an easy decision to take. But before announcing the result, I would like to give the opportunity to each of my co-panelists to say a few words of their impression of this finals. And perhaps we will start with Dr. Anuradna.
You're muted, Anuradha.
You're still muted.
Still muted. Muted. Muted and muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was a pleasure judging this movie few years, despite the fact I would echo Dr. Vanden Bosch's comments in terms of the fact that this was a unique problem, and I'm always impressed by the fact that for students who don't have any background in trade law, who probably are reading the problem and understanding trade law for the first time, each one of you made a fantastic, a valiant effort to defend the sides that you were representing. It was stimulating for us to go through the problem, to understand your responses to the various questions. A lot of the aspects that were dealt with in this particular case did not really have a direct precedent in WTO law, despite which you were able to marshal arguments and adapt it to the facts of this case, which was admirable. So congratulations to all of you. For those of you who would have overheard Peter and Arthur's slide tete-a-tete before the formal session began, there is overall a despondence in terms of, what's the future of the WTO, and what's, given the fact that we have a dysfunctional appellate body. But it was again taking cue from from what Arthur just said. As far as trade law is concerned, it's not confined to WTO law. Multilateralism has its unique value, and it's going to survive in whatever shape and form. But a lot of the aspects that we discussed today is going to have relevance for many of the free trade agreements that are getting negotiated and will continue to do so. So in terms of a field of law and the opportunities that it represents, this is one of the most exciting fields to be involved in. And I do hope that the moot court provided an opportunity for you to get a bird's eye view of some of the key issues, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Mr. Laxi.
Thank you, Peter. I think this moot court was a different type of problem, and the counsels who argue, or the students who argued for the claimant as well as the respondents, must have been very surprised about the type of question which came from the bench. And these questions are live questions. As arguing counsels, when you graduate in your life, you will get these type of tough questions from the bench. Your preparation is not enough with your brief. You must be able to handle the matters beyond the brief that necessary. And thinking on your legs is an important aspect of lawyering. And most important thing, all of you to know, you must expect the unexpected. When you enter the courtroom, be prepared for question for which you have no answers or not prepared at all. But the reservoir of knowledge on this subject and beyond the subject must be able to give you the knowledge and quick-wittedness to answer the questions. effectively and convincingly. And this is the hallmark of lawyer. And you are put to acid test today. Both the teams did well. We had extreme difficulty in finding out who is the best out of this, better out of this. In fact, it took a longer time for us to come back to this valedictory because of this. These teams did very well. Particularly when this subject is not the subject matter of curriculum in your school and the colleges. Studying this for the first time in a short period of time and answering these questions is phenomenal. Hats off to you. Hats off. As usual, JNLU has conducted this program and this particular moot court in a virtual manner, not abandoning this because of the court. Again, commendation to the university. And my friend Girish has always been motivating factor for all the students to do this particular moot. And I must say one thing that both Peter and other, not part of James and Anuradha, asked most relevant questions and elicited the answers from the team. I could say that some of the answers may not be convincing to the judges. It's always like this. But the way you perform, the way you answer the questions is what is important in a moot court like this. And I would say that we have been fortunate. I've been attending and participating and judging within courts about this moot court the last several years. And you people have not disappointed. That's what I would say. Before I normally say sit down, now I switch off. I must say that the winning team and the runner team, both of them are entitled to come and join as an intern in our office. Because in our office is not easy. So fitting into any of this other formalities, fast track basis, I am providing this opportunity to both the winning team and the runner team to come to our office for internship. We have an excellent trade team working, and you can be rest assured on the first day you join, you'll be handed over brief immediately to start working on it. That you don't have time even to think. That will be the direct position here. So, well, and choose your own time, but give me enough time to plan our action plan for the interns. And I would be more than happy to receive you and then give you further input as far as this fascinating branch of law called international trade and WTO law. As Anuradha mentioned, that this particular matter normally was confined to WTO, and the students used to say, hey, the litigation is limited to the country disputes, where will get an opportunity to go argue the case, etc. But as Anuradha mentioned, now many bilateral agreements or more or less many WTO agreements with all the dispute settlement trapped into that. So therefore, there will be many more opportunities for the students to grow into the particular field. And I wish all of you the great success, and I see the bright future as far as the students is concerned. Remember, it is not law for all the students. It is a very, very small niche. Only those type of students can go into this particular field and excel in that. And you are in the right track. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Arthur, and of course, my friend James and Anuradha for making this particular thing. And I really enjoyed the discussion. And today, from the volley of questions from the bench, I thought I should not add more and then add to the discomfort of the student. Therefore, I confine only to questions. But you did well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lexi. James.
Professor Peter, can you hear me? So thanks again. I think my congratulations to the organizing committee of GIMC and especially to the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Shantakumar. We have been working. In fact, our center has been working with the JNLU for a fairly long time now, with respect to the trade lab project. So we have got a number of students actually working with us on a regular basis. In addition to that, we have been supporting this particular moot. And let me tell you, without any kind of doubt, that this is actually one of the finest moot court competitions that we can find in India. Not only in India, perhaps across the world. It actually stands alongside the John Jackson moot court competition in terms of the depth, in terms of participation, and the kind of argumentation being made. Let me also tell you that this year we had a fairly good problem, a very good problem actually, a problem which deals with some of the conventional issues, Article 3, Article 20. Then we have got a specialized area dealing with the conformity assessment procedure. And then one of the topical issues relating to animal welfare, or you can actually call it carbon tax, whichever way you would like to frame it. So this is again a very interesting problem. And as Andrea mentioned, the answers are not there. And I really enjoyed this mood, and the kind of participation, not only from the students, but even from the bench, was absolutely remarkable. Let me tell you that the people who asked the questions are some of the best in the field. In fact, it actually took me a while in order to get a measure of the questions from Professor Peter and Dr. Arthur Appleton, and also from Anuradha and Dr. Lakshmi Kumar. They were very tough. And I think the greatest ability of a lawyer is basically to listen to the questions carefully and understand the question. Professor Peter was saying that the greatest skill of a lawyer is sometimes keep talking to maintain that continuity, even if the person hasn't actually understood the questions. So anyway, I think congratulations to all of you. This is just an experiment, a good learning experience for all of you. It doesn't really matter whether you win or lose this competition, but the kind of effort that you put in making decent arguments before a very fierce panel was absolutely fantastic. And let me tell you, to actually remain unflattered after facing this onslaught of questions is not easy. And that is perhaps more important than understanding the WTO law. Perhaps all of us know WTO law to an extent, but to remain calm and composed in the midst of those questions is absolutely remarkable. So from the part of Center for Trade and Investment Law, we think that this competition is actually a great initiative in keeping the lamp of multilateralism glowing. So we know that we need a real push for WTO. That push is not coming from anywhere. Professor Peter was just mentioning about the kind of repeated opposition to WTO appellate body filling up a vacancy, and that is something absolutely dampening. It is really bad for the system. We know it, but at least as students and practitioners and academicians in this field of law, we have to keep the system alive. So sometimes, for the time being, there could be some departure or diversion to the free trade agreement system, or sometimes we may go to a temporary ad hoc mechanism, but we have to keep the faith in the appellate body. How many times did we actually listen to the term appellate body in today's argumentation? Multiple times. So we're just wondering how we can actually practice WTO law without a functioning appellate body. Anyway, this is a stark reminder about the time in which we live, and in order to come out of that, we have to work together. So at the same time, my congratulations to all of you, all the students who participated. As I mentioned earlier, winning or losing doesn't matter. You all have done a fairly good job, remarkable job in terms of participating well. So thank you to all of you, and also to the GIMC organizing committee and to the esteemed Vice Chancellor. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Arthur.
The best part about going last is you can be brief because all of the compliments have already been given, but that won't deter me. I want to first thank the organizers, as everyone has done, and the unsung heroes, those who wrote the bench memorandum, which was very, very good, the problem, and of course the students. I'm one of the rare people that actually enjoys being on your side more than being on the bench side, but just because I think it's very exciting to have to think on your feet and to answer the questions, and you did a very good job. I was most unfair. I asked questions that were very broad questions that made you think about the system and where it was going, trying to relate animal welfare to carbon taxes, and you handled this well. Some of you all were very, very much, as James said, unflappable, and I appreciate that. a point that was made already, being a good attorney does require this kind of confidence, almost bravado sometimes, but also knowing when you're wrong and knowing when not to speak. I think a good attorney speaks and a good attorney knows when not to speak. And that's what I would consider to be very, very important as well. Developing the judgment, developing the demeanor that you need to have before a court, before a tribunal. And you did that. You did an excellent job. Look, we're living in very difficult times. Multilateralism is under challenge, but don't worry is my advice. I believe that the multilateral system is here to stay. I believe that India, as an important participant in this system, has a lot to gain from this system, which means that I believe your futures are going to be very bright. The skills that you've shown today, the courage to take on a very daunting task, which is to try to understand a field like WTO law while pursuing your studies, is commendable. It was a great pleasure to be here today. I look forward to someday meeting you all in person, and I congratulate all of you on your new internships. Thank you very much. And it's actually a very good offer. You should consider taking it. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, Arthur. Well, you said you would speak. The fact that you could speak last allowed you to make it short. I can make it even shorter. My comments can even be more limited because indeed, everything has already been said. Having said that, let me add 3 thoughts. First of all, we gave the parties a hard time in the past 2 hours. Our questions were really, really difficult. These are questions that we struggle with, yeah, and we asked them to you. We have perhaps a start of an answer, but we definitely don't have the answer to many of the questions that we asked you. And I think you did an admirable job in trying to answer these questions. I think it may be clear from some of my comments that I disagreed with some of your takes on where WTO law stands. But who am I? You can argue your own case, and that's what you did. Very well done. I think, and I say this more often at the end, final rounds of a moot court, but I say it today with even more conviction. The way in which I heard you do the pleading, answer the questions, was at least as good and sometimes better than what we get in real life. And you can take that from me. I've been on the bench for almost a decade, so I've heard it all. This was really good. So, right. So that was point 1. Point 2, the excellence of the presentations that we've heard today, I'm sure is a reflection on the high quality of the other teams participating in this competition, which I have not been able to judge. But I think it tells us a lot about how many excellent lawyers that India is producing in this field. And that's a very good sign. Yeah. And that links to my 3rd comment. As some of my colleagues already referred to, the multilateral trading system is in crisis. WTO dispute settlement is in crisis because of the paralysis of the appellate body. But as Arthur said very well, don't despair. Yeah, for 2 reasons. A reason that Arthur already mentioned, the multilateral trading system is here to stay. We will, the system will continue, be it perhaps not as forceful as we would like it to be. It will not go away. That's point 1. But point 2 is all the things that you've picked up in studying WTO law and preparing for this moot are about issues, about problems that also will come to haunt all of us in the context of free trade agreements. Yeah? The issues of likeness, of necessity, these are issues that you find also under free trade agreements. So the skills that you learn by studying WTO and its case law will be very relevant to anything that you do at the level of free trade agreements. And with that, and congratulating both teams again to a very good performance, I think now the time has come, the thing you've been waiting for a long time now already, the results. And the winner is, let me first say it was a difficult decision. But the winner is the complainant. We think that the complainant, and perhaps if you can switch off your cameras, I'd like to see delight in the face of the complainants and perhaps somewhat disappointment in the face of the respondents, but it was close. Yeah. Yes, the complainants. And then we were also tasked by picking the best oralist, that distinction goes to the first speaker of the complainant. So the first speaker of the complainant, which we have, yes, we have now. She just switched on her camera. This was a very, very good performance. And for the reasons that my colleagues already observed. I see that James asks for the floor. James, is that asking for the floor, or is it just waving of approval? Okay, all right. So with that, I would like to conclude this. For me, it started before the late morning of my Sunday. It's now getting mid-afternoon, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And I hope you did too. And I hope this was a learning experience that you'll never forget. Take it from me. Mooting is the best thing you can do to yourself, although you must have had doubts about that in the past weeks. But this is where you really learn how to handle things in real life. So very well done. Congratulations. And don't be strangers to the World Trade Institute, to the colleagues that are here present. You're very welcome in Bern. With that, I close.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request our faculty convener, Dr. Girish Shah, to take over and announce the other prizes as well. Girish, sir.
Yeah. Respected directors, sir, respected panelists, and dear participants. So it's my turn to declare all the results with the participating universities and their names. So while I'll be announcing the results, Urja will be sharing the screen. So we have the best written submission. The best written submission or best memorial goes to team 129, that is Symbiosis Law School, Hyderabad. They will be receiving a merit certificate and a cash prize of 10,000 sponsored by Center for Trade and Investment Law, IAFT. The second best written submission goes to team 123, that is Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law. They will be receiving merit certificate and cash prize of 5,000. the best orator of the preliminary rounds, Goyal. She will be receiving EPLO and a cash prize of 10,000. Of preliminary rounds goes to Jai Singh Khela of Institute of Law, Nirma University, getting a merit certificate and a cash prize of 5,000 rupees. The winning team, as already declared here, it's the final of 13th edition of GMC was between Institute of Law, Nirma University versus University of Oxford, and the winner is Institute of Law, Nirma University. They will be receiving a merit certificate and a cash prize of 50,000. They will be getting 1 year access to SCC online and EBC learning. They will be getting a chance to participate in the 8th Joint Academy of International Trade Law, 1 month summer school, then internship at Center for WTO Study, participation in WTO Summer Academy on International Trade Law, Trade Regulation, 1 month internship in Oric Harrington LLP, then 50 hours law tech course in EPLO, and book sponsored by Texas University School of Law, also receiving the internship from Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan law firm. The runners-up team, Team 118, University of Oxford, they will be receiving merit certificate, 30 hours law tech course at EPLO, book sponsored by Texas and AM University School of Law, a cash prize of 25,000 sponsored by Center for Trade and Investment Law. And the best orator of the final rounds goes to Nayanika Goyal, Institute of Law, Nirma University. She will be receiving a merit certificate and 40 hours law tech course at EPLO. This is from my part. It was indeed a great experience for me to organize this particular moot court competition through the virtual mode. Though I was organizing this GMC in the past edition through physical mode, but I could manage and organize this competition very well. For that, I think the greatest credit goes to on GNLU alumni, that is Vishaka Chowdhury. She happened to be the helping hand for us to draft this particular problem, and she managed with Christina from WTO, whereby they could create such a wonderful problem and also coordinate with our team, GMC team, to prepare a bench memo which we could effectively circulate among the judges and make sure that this competition goes very well. It was also a wonderful experience where we could make all this competition go very well because of the support extended by our university, that is with full-hearted support extended by Shantakumar sir and our registrar sir and our entire university team. But I believe that in this tough time, this competition could have been managed in this very well manner because of the single-hearted effort made by Urja. Because I have two conveners. One of the convener was fully busy with Jessup. She even reached to the Octa 16 rounds, and she happened to be there during this particular GMC period. But these two students, Urja and Kirtana, with the support of other organizing members, made sure that this moot is organized in its best. So thank you very much. Before I handing over mic to Urja and Kirtana to officially propose vote of thanks, I would like to share a video which is shared with us by Srividya from Texas University. I hope that this will work. I will try. If there is any problem, Urja, kindly let me know.
everybody. I'm Sri Vidya Raghavan from Texas A&M University School of Law. It is my honor to be able to speak with all of you on the occasion of the final rounds of the GNLU's 13th International Trade Law Competition. I wish I could be there in person, to be honest, but it's indeed a privilege to be able to get an opportunity to even address all of you. As many of us know, trade law has become important. It gained prominence even before the pandemic, but the pandemic, the resulting supply chain issues, and the Russia-Ukraine debacle have all raised the importance of both international law as well as international trade law. In a globalized world, all of us rely on each other for reciprocity, for comity of nations, and for trade to proceed in order for all countries to survive well. So I'm glad that GNLU is hosting it. I'm even gladder that we have students participating. I am thrilled to say that Texas A&M was a sponsor. It is going to present a small token of appreciation to the winners, as well as to the the second place holders at the competition. To give you a brief about Texas A&M School of Law, we are the 46th ranked School of Law in the nation, but 6th in our ranking of intellectual property rights. I'm a member of the I Direct the Hindi program, but I'm also a member of the Center for Learning on Intellectual Property Rights and specialize in trade as well. So I say this so it will be my privilege and pleasure if I can see some of you in our law school, whether as a student for LLM or as a fellow lunchtime speaker or as a exchange faculty from GNLU. I welcome each one of you, and I'm happy to assist you in any way I can to make that possible. With that, have a great rest of the day, and congratulations to the winners as well as to the finalists at the competition. Thank you. Bye.
Kirtana and Urja to officially present vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. The smooth conduct of this competition involved months of hard work behind the scenes with meticulous planning to ensure the highest standards. The organizing committee has been instrumental in ensuring that the competition was conducted seamlessly. We thank particularly to the coordinators and co-coordinators of various subcommittees that we had set up for the smooth functioning of the event.
And I will just take this opportunity to introduce the organizing committee and specifically the coordinators and co-coordinators. On the communications team, we had Bhavnish, Siddharth, and Karunya who were leading the team. On logistics, we had Astha, Shreya, Mathangi, and Nisarg. On the sponsorship team, we had Manthan, Padma, Soumya, and Divyansh. On the technical and hospitality team, because of which everything ran so smoothly, we had Ayushi, Nihal, Nasima, and Shivang. The chief scorers for the competition were Bhavnish and Rishabh, and we are indebted to Shivaditya Sarvotam and Rishabh Manihar for all of the help throughout the competition. And this is it for the organizing committee. And we just hope that all of the participants, as well as the judges, had a wonderful experience being part of the competition this year, although it was held virtually. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We hope to see everybody next year. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.